What is up everyone, today I'm showcasing Araquanid in the Open Great League. I think Araquanid is quite a beast in the current Open Great League meta, as it is a very good core breaker to some common duos like the Alolan Sez/Metachamp core and the Deoxys defense Umbreon core. Besides that, it does incredible versus Pokeballs such as Swampert and Dugong, which are very common right now, and it can also beat most grass types. So some very good coverage from this Pokemon, and it did very well for me. I tried it out in a bunch of different teams for the last couple of days and I've gained like 150 points with it, so it's doing pretty good. I'll be showcasing you one of the more fun teams in today's video with Quagsire, Shadow, Golisopod in the middle as a pivot, and then Araquanid in the back. I'll be running Quagsire in the lead as it does cover for most of Araquanid's weaknesses. Araquanid, of course, does really struggle with rock types, with electric types, and steel types. And Quagsire can deal with all of them. I'm running a bit of an odd moveset, running no Mud Bomb. I'm running Aqua Tail and Stone Edge instead. And I might have had to use an Elite TM to get Stone Edge, by the way, so I ran out of TMs. So please leave a like on the video for that. But yeah, I think Aqua Tail is necessary to beat Gligar, because both Golisopod and Araquanid really struggle with that. And then Stone Edge is kind of needed to beat the Flyers. Does make you a little worse versus Steels, but with the combination of Mudshell and Aqua Tail, you should still be good there. I did 10 battles with this team and went 8-2, and today I just want to show you all the battles that I did in the order that I did them. So we're just gonna head right into game number 1, where I face probably the worst lead possible, Lickitung. Now, Quagsire is not helpless against Lickitung, so I just opt to stay in there. Honestly, with an ABB line like this, you rarely want to stay in the lead. You generally want to switch out into your Golisopod, even if it is a neutral lead, because you want to lure out the counter to Araquanid with your Golisopod. However, in the case of Lickitung lead, Golisopod just really sucks there. So you kind of want to chip the Lickitung first before going into pod. I would have really liked to not have to take that Body Slam on Quagsire though. But I kind of had to. I kind of had to get off to the Aqua Tail to put this Lickitung in range where an X-Scissor would knock out. Unfortunately though, my Quagsire is now incredibly low and likely won't be able to finish off this Carbink. Well, it might be able to if they no shield, then I should be fine. If they decide to shield their Carbink though, I might be in trouble. By the way, you see me going for the X-Scissor versus Carbink first, because I knew that I wasn't gonna get to 2 liquidations. I figured I might as well go for the X-Scissor first, because if they want to shield one of my Golisopod's moves, they're likely gonna shield the first, which then would be a bait. But unfortunately, let go. Actually, that's fine, because I need this damage. I really need this damage to put the Carbink in range where Aqua Tail might always knock out. If they shield this though, I'm in trouble, but luckily Carbink lets the move go. I bring in Araquanid to go for the farm now, but unfortunately the Carbink survives at 1 HP and gets a Rock Slide, but Araquanid is incredibly tanky and this does nothing. That did pitiful damage. Unfortunately, though, there's a Gligar in the back, and this I just can't beat. Game number 2, I face a Venusaur lead, and that is just so bad. But they bring in Swampert. I don't know what they were expecting, but, you know, Golisopod, Araquanid are so rare to see in this meta that a lot of players just aren't prepared for what to do when one of them switches in. So my opponent brings in Swampert, which is actually a pretty good matchup for Golisopod. Not amazing though, as it is a Shadow Swampert, 2 Hydro Cannons will knock out, so I actually have to go shield down here. Araquanid is a little better than Golisopod, I would say, as like a bug water type, because it is much tankier, but I do prefer Golisopod as the pivot, as it does have that liquidation for some hard-hitting water damage. Anyway, Venusaur comes in now. I'm gonna get the 2 X-Scissors here, really hoping they let one of these go, because then I can Bug Bite down. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get to a full Bug Buzz, which is a lot of energy. They do shield the second one though, so now I'm still in a little bit of trouble. You know, Araquanid is water bug, so it takes neutral from grass, so these are still difficult to deal with. But as you can see, I just eat up 1 Frenzy Plant. I'm so broken. They get to the next one now, though. That would knock me out, so I have to shield this up. And now I just have to hope I outpace the Bug Buzz. Out comes Dugong now, and this is pretty good. Araquanid, also pretty good wall for this Dugong, but I don't want to stay in, as my Quagsire is going to be more useful here than versus the Venusaur. So my play here now is to hit 1 Stone Edge on the Dugong, and then hope to farm out Araquanid to Bug Buzz the Venusaur. But yeah, as you can see, my opponent's team here is a perfect example here of why these bug water types can work in this meta. They really had no answers. Their best answer is Venusaur. The Swampert and Dugong both get destroyed by these bug waters. Look at this. Dugong's gonna get to a move, but I'm not worried. I got an Araquanid on the field, and it just eats it up. We Bug Bite away. We get to the Bug Buzz first. The Venusaur that switches in. Even the buff, this knocks out the squishy Venusaur, and then we bite down the Dugong. GG's. Okay, Deoxys lead's actually not too bad of a lead for Quagsire, but I decided to switch out into Golisopod. Because I have two better answers with Deoxys in the back. And again, it's an ABB team. You want to save your lead just in case there's something bad for your back to Pokemon in the back. Like Steelix. Steelix is not the best. But this is, again, why I'm pivoting into Golisopod. Because I do have liquidation and I can actually hit Steelix for quite a lot of damage. Whereas Araquanid doesn't really stand a chance. My opponent actually opts to double shield their Steelix and fully farm me down. Which is a bit wild. But fine with me. Fine with me. They're going to be able to get to a couple breaking swipes here. If that was an Earthquake, I don't think I would have gotten knocked out, so I felt fine no-showing that at this point. I'm not expecting that to be a great Araquanid answer in the back. Well, it could actually always be Carbink, but if it is Carbink, I think I've lost either way. So I'm just going to no-show this and hope it's a Alolan Sandslash, which is something I've seen very often with this team. Actually ends up being Diggersby though, and this is another pretty good matchup for Araquanid. It depends on moveset though. If they're in Quick Attack and Hyper Beam, this is tough, but they are running Quick Attack, Fire Punch, and Araquanid just does very good here. I'm gonna go for a Bubble Beam first here. Bug Buzz is the more efficient move, damage-wise, even against targets where Bubble Beam is super effective, like versus versus Diggersby, but Bug Buzz would not knock out yet, so I figured I'll just go for the Bubble Beam immediately, and then go for the Bug Buzz next to knock out this Diggersby. I also have another Aqua Tail stored onto my Quagsire, so if I can put this Diggersby in range where a single Aqua Tail knocks out, I can just switch into my Quagsire and Aqua Tail. So that's my plan right now. Gonna go into Quagsire after getting off the Bubble Beam. This, I believe, would knock out the Diggersby, but unfortunately it just barely survives at 1 HP, and that could be a problem. Because if the Diggersby now gets another Fire Punch versus my Araquanid, that is pretty threatening. Because this Deoxys will also get energy. I still have 2 shields though. But they have 3 Pokemon alive on the field, and Araquanid is not the hardest hitting Pokemon. Alright, I'm going to shield out this first Psycho Boost. I'm going to let go of this second. I think the Diggersby still is a move, and I feel like a Fire Punch would do more than a double debuff Psycho Boost. So I let that Psycho Boost go. Araquanid survives it easy. We fully farm down right before they get to the third Psycho Boost. Double Bubble Beam loaded. I'm just spamming it right now. I don't care what they bring in. They bring in the Steelix, and they catch it on Diggersby. Actually, that's an incredible play by our opponent, making that Peekaboo catch right there. But unfortunately for them, I have another Bubble Beam loaded, and we'll fire it off to take out the Steelix right now. GG's. Alright, we're 2-1 in this set. Next game, Carbink lead. In comes Medicham. Now, Araquanid is actually a better answer to Medicham, because you're so much bulkier, and you can actually win every single even shield scenario. Golisopod, on the other hand, can't take a Psychic. So I'm gonna have to go shield down there, which is very unfortunate. It's not ideal. But the reason I went in with Golisopod here is because I'm expecting a Grass type in the back. And Araquanid just does a little better versus most Grass types. Especially Superior, you just have that super effective Bug Bites. It's still not an amazing matchup, because Frenzy Land and Aerial Ace will do a lot, but it's better than Golisopod's matchup. I'm a shield down now though, it's not great. I do get off a couple liquidations versus this Carbink, so that's good. And they have another Alolan Sandslash in the back. And this is why I love the Araquanid, especially this Powder Snow variant of Alolan Sandslash just can't do anything for the Araquanid. That is a Drill Run, former Shadow Alolan Sandslash. That's not even been debuffed yet, and it does absolutely nothing to Araquanid. You wall this without doing you basically do no damage versus the Alolan Sandslash as well, because you're doing resistant Bug Bites and Bubble Beams, which are low damage move, but you still beat Alolan Sandslash in every single shield scenario. Even if the Alolan Sandslash has 2 shields, and Araquanid is 0, you can win that, which is just absolutely crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. It's almost a better counter than a Medicham is. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. This whole team actually does great versus Alolan Sandslash. So if you see one of them on the opposing side, you're in great shape with this team. Okay, another Deoxys lead. I'm going to play it out the same way as I did previously. Go into the Golisopod. Take the Psycho Boost. You could consider shooting this, honestly, but I'm always worried of there maybe being a Lickitung in the back. And if you use a shield down on your pod, you're just gonna be a shield down for the remainder of the game. It's not worth it. In this case, though, they bring out the Dugong as their best pod answer, which is super interesting. I really wish I shield the Psycho Boost in this case, but again, you don't know the team, so I think it's fine. I'm gonna go for a move. Pod, not as bulky as Araquanid, but still has some bulk, so it actually survives that moves and gets to another X-Scissor. I think I go down to this Ice Shard though, so if this X-Scissor doesn't knock out, we'll be losing switch advantage, but we actually maintain switch advantage. I do think their back Pokeball is super weak to Araquanid. Otherwise, they wouldn't ever bring a Dugong into Golisopod. So I bring in Quagsire to the Deoxys, even though it's a worse matchup that Araquanid has versus Deoxys, because I want to save my Araquanid for whatever they have in the back. If it ends up being something bad for me, yeah, I made a mistake, but it is what it is. This is the call I'm making. Let's just hope I'm right. Okay, another Psycho Boost coming through. I can survive it. I go straight for Stone Edge. Out comes Alolan Sandslash once again. And Araquanid is about to feast it. Even let that move go. Probably expecting another Aqua Tail. This is the Shadow Claw variant of Alolan Sandslash. This is a little worse matchup than, or I would say, a little less good of a matchup than a Power Style variant. But you still win this as Araquanid, which is just so sick. It's so sick. Okay, get another Bubble Beam. Brings it down low. Farm it down. Opponent sees the writing on the wall, like Home Slice Henry Rex to say, and concedes the match. Alright. Escavalier lead. That is spicy. That is spicy. Actually, with one of my other Araquanid teams, actually, the other Araquanid team I ran was Steelix, Dugong, Araquanid. I faced an Escavalier. It was hard to deal with, because that Escavalier also had Aerial Ace, which is just super bad for Golisopod and Araquanid. So, honestly, I probably should have switched into my Golisopod immediately, because if the Escavalier doesn't have Aerial Ace, that's a fine matchup. But I was too scared of the Aerial Ace, since I've seen one before with Aerial Ace, so I didn't do that. And I don't think they have Aerial Ace, because I just Mega Orb my Quagsire, which I did shoot, luckily. Anyway, I brought out Sableye, I double Aqua Tail, then I brought out Araquanid. Araquanid eats that return, farms down a Sableye, comes out of this matchup with a Bubble Beam loaded, and is close to Bug Buzz too. They bring a Escavalier, I'm just going to start Bubble Beaming, but they bring out Azumarill. Now, Azumarill is a bit of a pain for this team. Nothing that really deals that well with Azumarill, but with teamwork, you can definitely deal with it. Bug Buzz already does a decent chunk. I thought this player would knock out, but Araquanid is just such a freaking monster and survives the move. I get to another Bubble Beam. This will debuff the attack of the Azumarill. Honestly, if I Bubble Beamed beforehand, like before throwing the Bug Buzz, I might have been in an even better spot, because I would have survived the player even better, and Azumarill would not have been able to farm me down. But I think this is still fine too. I can bring out my Pod now, play rough because it's the buff, wouldn't do that much anymore. So fine, just bring this in, saving my Araquanid for later. Out comes Escavalier. Honestly, I kind of lost track of energy. I had no clue where they were, so just didn't throw my move. I know, even after it's counter damage, I should be able to survive and play rough. So I was super fine with just farming down the Escavalier, getting a bunch of energy in. And now Azumarill comes out again. Play rough, my Golisopod. I know they were at like 100 energy, so they're 2 bubbles away from the next. They just threw one. They're now going to throw the second. There's another play rough. This point, I'm going to bring out my Quagsire, because I know my Golisopod is going to get a Pistol move. I bring out my Quagsire. They're going to have to throw their move very quickly. And this will make it so that they're more than 1 bubble away from their next play rough. And I should be able to outpace them to another X-Scissor. And Golisopod cleans up the game with like 3-4 X-Scissors in a row. GG's. Alright. Alolan Sandslash lead. This is what you love to see. I know mud bomb, but my opponent doesn't know that. So I build up to the mud bomb, go for the Aqua Tail. I have 2 Pokemon that like taking the damage more than Quagsire does. Because on Quagsire does neutral, of course, and on Golisopod and Araquanid it does resisted. So I try to catch a move on Golisopod. Unfortunately, it does not work out. They switch into the Azumarill. I am a shield up, but this is kind of awkward. They've done some chip damage with the Alolan Sandslash, which was quite smart, by the way, putting me in a range to where Play Rough plus Bubbles might be enough. At this point, I don't see any point in shielding their moves. So we're gonna let this go. Go for another X-Scissor to the Azumarill. These are adding up, but they're really not doing that much. I could have really considered going for Liquidation first, because if I get the Fence Drop, I do more damage with my following Shadow Claws and X-Scissors. But it's you don't always get the defense drop, so I felt like it was a bit too risky, as X-Scissor does do more damage. It does do more damage, but it's more damage efficient. Anyway, I'm not expecting him to be super strong versus a Araquanid in the back, so I decided to let my Quagsire go, knowing that the Alone Sensors already had a lot of energy, and I just tried to sweep with Araquanid. I shielded up the first move, expecting Drill Run, and at some point you gotta use shields, you know, at some point you gotta use shields, even when the moves are resisted. You don't want to go down with 2 shields, so I decided to shoot the first. Now I'm gonna go for the Bug Buzz, thinking that Bubble Beam wouldn't knock out yet, to just get rid of the Alone Sensors before I can get to another move, and Frost Blast comes out. Now this might seem like a terrible matchup for Araquanid, but it actually isn't. If you have a very high ranked Araquanid, you actually win every single even shield scenario, either straight Bubble Beam in the 1s and 2s, or Bubble Beam into Bug Buzz in 0s. Unfortunately though, my Araquanid is already low HP, so that's not gonna be working out this time, but I think there might still be some play. I still have an X-Scissor on my Golisopod. Fortunately, Azu gets to move here. Oh my. I still have an X-Scissor on my Golisopod. If I can somehow get a Bubble Beam here, and then catch an Avalanche on my Golisopod, while also get off my X-Scissor, so a Charge Attack Priority Sacrificial Swap, that would maybe give me a win condition, but unfortunately, I kind of lag, I couldn't switch. They Power Stone anyway. I don't think the lag mattered at all, but it was kind of frustrating in the moment because I couldn't really switch when I wanted. I don't think it mattered though. So GG to my opponent there. Alright, Deoxys lead again. I switched to Pod. Out comes Lickitung. This is pretty bad. This is one of the worst things that Golisopod can see, as your quick attacks are just doing no damage. But the charges do a decent chunk. I went for a liquidation first this time, hoping for the defense drop, because if I get a liquidation defense drop, the next 2 X-Scissors will knock out. Unfortunately though, I didn't get it. They still throw before I get to my next X-Scissor though, so this is fine with me. I think I would have really not liked it if they went for a full farm down, but I think they could have. Anyway, they go for a move here. No, this is just a Bottle Snap. I'm gonna let it go. They're in Aqua Tail range now, so I'm gonna overfarm just a little bit more. Go for another Aqua Tail. I am again expecting them to be weak to a Araquanid in the back, seeing as they brought out Lickitung into Golisopod. They likely don't have a harder answer like a Carbink or a Gligar in the back, I would say. I guess they could still have Gligar. They might be afraid to bring in Gligar versus a Pokemon that has a water move. But yeah, let's see. Psycho Boost coming out from Deoxys ends up being Umbreon, which is another amazing matchup for Araquanid. I don't even build up to Bug Buzz. If they no-shoot that Bubble Beam, that's totally fine with me, but they actually end up shielding. This is a big advantage of running a Pokemon that like no one has seen for ages. They don't know the counts, and it thought it was going to be a Bug Buzz, but it was just a Bubble Beam. But yeah, I was totally fine with them no-shooting that too, as that these Falpers just do nothing now. So even if they had another shield, I could just go straight Bubble Beam afterwards and be fine most likely. So I was okay with that. This is good too though. That's even better honestly, because I can just go straight Bug Buzz now to knock out the Umbreon. Or another plan is to Bug Bite this Umbreon into range where an Aqua Tail knocks out, switch out with a Bug Buzz loaded, and then have a Bug Buzz stored for the Deoxys. That's what I'm gonna go for here. I'm in the red. I can farm to a Bug Buzz, switch it to my Quagsire, go for the Aqua Tail to knock out the Umbreon. Deoxys is still left, but I have a Bug Buzz loaded on my Araquanid now and the shield, so should be looking good. Bug Buzz, or one Bug Buzz wouldn't knock out the Deoxys yet, so I go for the Stone Edge now to bring him into a range where Bug Buzz will definitely knock out. And opponent knows it's over, concedes the match, and that's another good game. Okay, Umbreon lead, honestly kind of awkward, kind of similar to Lickitung, where I mean, Golisopod still doesn't do that great versus it. Oh yeah, a little bit of a recording error. All these matches were streamed, by the way. Every single match I did with Araquanid was on my Twitch live stream, so go check it out. But sometimes I have some issues with my cable not connecting, and then the mirror acts up. But yeah, I don't think we missed anything. Anyway, what I wanted to say about Umbreon, it's still not that great for Golisopod, as you're doing resisted with the Shadow Claws. So I decided to chip the Umbreon before going into it. And they're actually switching into Gramble, and they decide to shoot the first X-Scissor bait, and then no-shoot the Liquidation. And I ended up grabbing Switch advantage there, and Shield advantage, which just puts me in an amazing spot. They bring out Azumarill now. This is good. I mean, Azumarill, again, is a tough Pokemon to deal with for this team, but I have a Shield advantage. Should be looking pretty good. Now, bring out Quagsire here, because I know there's an Araquanid in the, or there's an Umbreon in the back sale, which I want to put my Araquanid on, because that's a pretty incredible matchup. So using my Quagsire is very fine. They even take me out with a foul play here. That's all good. Just gonna let it go. At this point, it's all up to Araquanid to sweep. Out it comes. We start biting. Gonna shield this move. I might as well shield something. At this point, I don't think it's required to shield anything, but I might as well. Opponent runs Psychic Umbreon, which I think is a very interesting call in this current metagame where there are Quagsires around. Actually, I feel like there were a lot of Quagsires like post-Community Day, but a lot of people were also hard countering Quagsire. So I feel like everyone running Quagsire, including myself, has been like, okay, let's just bench the Quagsire for now. Let's just not run it anymore because there's so many counters, but I mean, if you do see Quagsire, I guess Psychic Umbreon is pretty interesting. Anyway, we bug bust the Azumarill, we win the game, we go into the final match. Quagsire versus Shadow Sableye. And this is actually versus a player I know, and I know they really love Alolan Sandslash. So that is what I'm expecting in the back. I am expecting Alolan Sandslash in the back, and that makes me feel pretty good about this current situation, as my team is very strong versus it. I go for the X-Scissor versus Sableye now on the CAP tie, actually. The Charge Attack Priority is official term. I'm trying to say that now. But that's why you hear me say Charge Attack Priority sometimes instead of Charge Move Priority. Anyway, shoot up 2 moves from a Sableye. I want switch. Again, I'm expecting that Alolan Sandslash in the back, so really want switch. So I can align my Araquanid on it. They bring out Venusaur. At this point, shield down. This is pretty tough for me, but luckily they let the X-Scissor go. And I saw some people over Twitch being confused about that, because if they would have shielded the X-Scissor, they would have probably been in a very good spot, because they would have had energy to hit my Araquanid. But it actually makes a lot of sense. Since I have a Quagsire lead, they're expecting a very good answer to Venusaur in the back, like a flyer, you know, a Mandibuzz or something. Something Venusaur can do almost nothing against. So just using it here as partially a damage punch actually makes a lot of sense. I don't have a team that makes a lot of sense, so it didn't work out for them this time, and they concede the match. Likely because they had the Alolan Sandslash like I expected, and Alolan Sandslash, even a shield up, just doesn't really stand a chance versus the Araquanid. Anyway, that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.